The streets of ancient Rome lie quiet under the cold March sky, a deceptive calm before history takes an unexpected turn. Picture, if you will, a world where one of history's most pivotal moments unfolds differently, where Julius Caesar does not fall to assassins' blades on the Ides of March. This is not the story you know. This is the story of what might have been. In our familiar past, Julius Caesar's death marked the end of the Roman Republic and the birth of an empire. But let us venture down a different path, where a single warning changed the course of history. In the dead of night, as conspirators finalize their plans, a hooded figure races through Rome's shadowy streets. This mysterious messenger carries words that will reshape the ancient world, a warning that saves Caesar's life and unleashes consequences that would ripple through centuries. Dawn breaks over Rome on March 15th, 44 BCE. The Senate House fills with nervous energy as conspirators arrive, daggers concealed beneath their togas. But today, Caesar is ready. The would-be assassins find themselves surrounded by loyal Praetorian guards, their carefully orchestrated plot crumbling before their eyes. In this moment, we witness the birth of a different kind of Rome, one where Caesar's ambition knows no bounds. The aftermath is swift and merciless. Caesar, now aware of the depth of opposition against him, moves with calculated precision. Brutus, Cassius, and their conspirators face public execution. The Senate, already diminished under Caesar's influence, becomes merely a rubber stamp for his absolute authority. The pretense of republican governance falls away entirely, replaced by undisguised autocracy. In this alternate timeline, Caesar's survival fundamentally alters the shape of Western civilization. Without his assassination, there is no civil war between Octavian and Mark Antony, no rise of Augustus, no peaceful Pax Romana under the 5 good emperors. Instead, Caesar consolidates his power and turns his gaze outward toward expansion that would dwarf his previous conquests. Imagine Roman legions pushing far beyond their historical boundaries. Caesar, emboldened by his brush with death, launches ambitious campaigns. Britain falls completely under Roman control, not just its southern regions. The Parthian Empire in the east faces the full might of Caesar's armies. Germanic tribes beyond the Rhine are systematically conquered and assimilated. The Mediterranean truly becomes Mare Nostrum, our sea in every sense. But the price of this expansion is paid in both blood and freedom. Caesar's surviving assassination attempt transforms him. The man who once showed clemency to defeated enemies becomes increasingly paranoid and ruthless. Political opposition is crushed without mercy. The Roman system of checks and balances, already strained, disappears entirely. Caesar's word becomes absolute law, setting a precedent for centuries of autocratic rule. The ripple effects of this change spread far beyond Rome's borders. Without the period of civil war that historically followed Caesar's death, Rome's military machine remains unified and unstoppable. Trade routes extend further, connecting Rome directly with China, India, and lands beyond. The empire's boundaries push into territories never reached in our timeline, deep into modern-day Russia, across North Africa, and along the coastlines of the Indian Ocean. Consider how this altered Rome would affect the development of world religions. Christianity, which historically spread through the Roman Empire's trade networks, might never gain the foothold it did under later emperors. The Jewish revolts might be crushed more thoroughly, changing the course of religious history. Instead of the blend of Roman and Christian influences that shaped medieval Europe, we might see a world where Roman paganism remains dominant, its temples still standing, its rituals still practiced. The survival of Caesar also transforms the nature of political power in the Western world. The idea of republican governance, already weakened in Caesar's time, suffers a possibly fatal blow. Without the cautionary tale of Caesar's assassination, future rulers learn a different lesson: that absolute power, properly defended, can endure. Democracy as we know it might have taken centuries longer to emerge, if it emerged at all. Language, culture, and technology would evolve differently in this alternate world. Latin might remain the dominant language across Europe and North Africa, never fragmenting into the Romance languages we know today. Roman engineering, uninterrupted by civil war, could advance more rapidly. Imagine Roman roads extending from Britain to Persia, aqueducts spanning vast distances, and architectural marvels that would dwarf even the impressive remains we have today. The social structure of this alternative Rome would be fascinating to consider. Without the periods of instability that historically allowed social mobility, would Roman society become even more rigidly hierarchical? Would the elimination of political competition lead to economic stagnation, or would the stability of single leadership promote growth? These questions reveal the complexity of historical cause and effect. As centuries pass in this alternate timeline, the consequences become even more profound. The fall of Rome might never happen as we know it. Without the fragmentation of the empire, the Middle Ages as we understand them might never occur. The Renaissance might come earlier, or perhaps take a completely different form. The development of modern nation-states, the rise of parliamentary democracy, the Industrial Revolution, all might unfold in radically different ways. Trade and cultural exchange in this world would follow different patterns. With Rome maintaining control over the Mediterranean and beyond, Islamic expansion might never occur. The Silk Road might become a Roman highway. The discovery and colonization of the Americas might happen centuries earlier, under Roman banners rather than Spanish or British ones. This alternative history raises profound questions about the nature of progress and civilization. Would a unified Roman Empire, sustained by Caesar's survival, create a more stable, prosperous world? Or would the lack of competition between nations stifle innovation and cultural development? Would humanity be better served by unified rule, or by the diversity that emerged from Rome's historical fall? The technological development of this alternate world presents intriguing possibilities. Roman engineering, given centuries more of uninterrupted development, might have achieved incredible feats. Steam power, which the Romans understood but never fully utilized, might have been developed earlier. The Dark Ages might never have happened, potentially advancing human progress by centuries. Yet there would be dark sides to this alternate history. The concentration of power in a single empire might lead to stagnation. The lack of competing powers could slow innovation. The rights of individuals might be permanently subordinated to the needs of the state. Democracy, which struggled to emerge even in our timeline, might remain an obscure Greek experiment, never to be revived. As we contemplate this different path, we must consider the role of individual actions in shaping history. The warning that saved Caesar in this scenario changed everything. But was the change for better or worse? Did the survival of one man advance or delay human progress? These questions have no simple answers, but they reveal the complexity of historical causation. In our alternate Rome, the year 2024 might be counted differently, perhaps as 2768 AUC, ab urbe condita, from the founding of Rome. Citizens might still speak Latin, worship the old gods, and live under laws written 2 millennia ago. The world might be more unified but less free, more stable but less dynamic, more prosperous but less innovative. The shadow of Caesar's survival would loom large over this alternative present. His decision to crush Republican opposition rather than seek reconciliation would set patterns that might never be broken. The warning that saved his life might have doomed the very concept of political liberty for centuries to come. As we conclude this journey through what might have been, we must ask ourselves, would Caesar's survival have truly changed everything? Or do the fundamental patterns of human nature mean that similar events would have eventually unfolded, merely at different times and in different ways? The warning that saved Caesar's life altered history, but perhaps the deeper currents of human development would have found their way regardless. One whispered warning, one moment of preparation, one change in the flow of events, and 2,000 years of history take a dramatically different course. The world we know, with its nations, religions, and ideals, might never have emerged. In its place, we might have seen a unified empire spanning continents, its eagles still flying from Britain to Persia, its influence reaching across oceans Caesar never knew existed. Yet, as we contemplate this alternative past, we must remember that history is not merely a series of events but a complex web of human choices, actions, and consequences. The warning that saved Caesar changed everything, but it reminds us that every moment, every decision, carries the potential to reshape the future in ways we can barely imagine. Our journey through this alternate history ends here, but the questions it raises echo forward through time. What price would humanity pay for unity under a single power? What is the true cost of absolute authority? And perhaps most importantly, how different would our world really be if Caesar had survived that fateful day? The answers lie in the realm of imagination, where history's paths diverge and possibility knows no bounds.